Hello ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. My name is Molten AMF, and today I'm going to be tier listing every preset in Armored Core 6. I played through the game using every one of these presets, so that's about 2 to 3 hours of experience with each one. In addition to my knowledge of the campaign as a speedrunner, I think there are a few more qualified to rank the presets than I. I will also be ranking these presets for PvP as well. These rankings are more malleable as I'm more of a good PvP player than the great PvE player that I am, and I haven't played online with them. Regardless, it still should stand as a good baseline for anybody who wishes to play in preset tournaments. The presets will be ranked into 2 categories, PvE and PvP. PvE are ranked based on how well they trivialize the campaign, while PvP is ranked for the performance against enemy ACs. I will discuss the presets in the order they are unlocked. First up, Loader 4. Loader 4 is pretty bad. It's slow for a lightweight, has bad mobility outside of assault boosting because of Joso generator and P10 booster, has poor impact generations where it has to rely on the pulse blade to do everything, so it will tend to lose a stagger race against most ACs. If you can stagger and hit a pulse blade, you might be able to win, but that's going to be difficult. It's also still pretty bad for PvE too because of its lackluster weapons. Mid E tier for PvP and mid C tier for PvE. Might as well talk about Tenderfoot while I'm here as well. Same ranking as Loader 4, but it's slightly better because better defenses and extra 5% damage on pulse blade. Mad Stomp. The Rummy Sweep! Best preset in the game! Woo! He's invincible! Okay, jokes aside, Rummy is fascinating. Let's go over PvP first, because that's easier. He is the worst undeniably. I don't think Mad Stomp could beat any other competent player in any other preset. The Sweet 16s are inconsistent, the Chainsaw Command Grab will never work because of the bad melee spec on the generator, on the booster, sorry, and the kicks are slow. Now, PvE on the other hand, oh boy are we cooking! The power of the Chainsaw alone is crazy. You can insta-kill a siege, you can command grab bosses, it's crazy. It's not easy, but every single boss can be beaten with a Chainsaw alone, though all might be ridiculously difficult. I beat an Air, Snail Tiers, IBIS with Rummy. Additionally, Rummy remains under 75k weight and holds an objectively, as in AP and stability, superior defensive performance over half of the presets. 26 over 42 are objectively worse. And the 1 through 5 booster also allows him to dodge well, meaning Rummy can stay in the fight for a while if you can play well. The worst preset for PvP, but a high C tier for PvE. Burn Pickaxe. Pretty bad. Vertical missiles never hit, and unlike the 8 or 12 cells, they don't have a slight chance to at least catch a staggered or firing stance AC because there's so few of them. The Ectogen is good, but the Little Gem holds it back. A Majestic would have been a solid offensive combo, but the Little Gem doing less impact and damage for a longer reload really hampers his offensive performance. The Basho frame is really solid for defense, so I won't have any complaints there, but combined with the Kikaku booster and Joso generator, you have so little mobility, and the Gen 1 SCS also makes hitting shots difficult. Mid E tier for PvP, and a high D tier for PvE. Hermit. Lots of solid parts. Pistol and Bazooka is really good. A really high stagger build-up, which also combos well with the split and 6-cell missile combo in the back. You can't stay too far away from it because the missiles will hound you, but if you get too close, you'll likely get staggered from the combination of the pistol and the Bazooka. Punish damage is a little low, but the pressure is really good, so it can overcome that weakness. Full Melander frame defensively is also really good. It's a little low on the end defense, but has really good bullet and explosive. PR4 booster is alright, it allows good aerial performance, and Abbott is a little suboptimal for the missiles, but it does help with the pistol and bazooka. The biggest weakness of Hermit is the Ling Tai generator. Really low capacity and recharge means bad mobility and being really susceptible to rushdown. Still really good overall in my opinion. A high B tier for PvP and a low A- for PvE. Bitter Promise. Really good weapons. A great combination of impact, damage, and punish. The shield is great too. The frame is good. A little less AP and stability than what we'd like, but it's still a good, even defensive performance. VP20S generator and Flugel gives solid mobility even if the capacity is a little under average. This AC would be genuinely amazing if it weren't for the SES, SLT, aka the Solo Missile FCS. With 31 close and 41 mid-tracking, because of this, most of the shots just end up missing. Thankfully, the shield helps keep you in combat longer to try and land your shots, but it's still a major weakness holding back the build. A low B tier for PvP and a high B for PvE. Infection. Lots of damage. This AC has 2 bubble guns, a Fazan, and a shield on VE20C. You don't want to stay too close to Infection for too long, else your AC will get melted. Additionally, it can Fazan snipe, which can give it an AP lead at the start of the match. putting you at an immediate advantage. The frame is a little bad defensively, but the allures can help alleviate this weakness. VE20C also has good capacity to further help, in addition to the fact it creates stupid damage for the weapons. The PO5 FCS is a little suboptimal for the bubble guns, but it can help with hitting the Fazan. However, this AC has really weak impact, meaning you have to be careful with your matchups. Any enemy AC with good burst damage could destroy Infection, which also makes Infection suboptimal against some bosses in the campaign. While quite a few use pulse shielding, bosses like the IBIS can be a real trouble. Overall, you'll need to love the playstyle, but it's not a bad AC. High C tier for PvP and a low B for PvE. UAU. Oh god, user 16 Echo on Reddit's gonna have some words for me. UAU is complete dog shit. It's the worst preset, hands down. I may place it over Rummy for PvP, but that's because any competent player will never lose to Rummy. However, I must concede, out of all the presets, this one is the most likely to lose to Rummy. Firstly, dual Iridiums on a biped is ass. You have to spend almost an entire second standing still for each shot. The vertical missiles can hit you. Bad FCSs can lock on. A Nightfall user could actually hit you with a raw bunk if they catch you with no EN spare, which you don't have. Yaba with Basho Core is better than Joso with Basho Core, but it's still ass, especially when you're still on Kikaku Booster. Oh yeah, plus Gen 1 FCS as well. You're probably going to miss your only shot while standing still. The shield and frame do help survivability, but you can only do so much on shit mobility and weapons that make you stand still. Second worst for PvP and the worst for PvE. Guidance. Man, I wish the stun baton was better. The game plans to hit a charged stun baton into an earshot. This combination can stagger even the heaviest AC, and it will allow you to combo into an uncharged stun baton, which deals great damage to a staggered AC, and can allow you to one-cycle a lighter AC. This has a small problem. Hitting the charged stun baton is difficult. Against a light AC, even with a Flugel booster, especially in PvP. So half the time you're kind of just waiting for the missiles and earshot to come off cooldown. The shield at least helps with staying in the fight longer, and while Guidance is on the lower end for AP for its weight, it does have excellent stability, with good mobility on VP20C generator. This AC's performance is entirely how well you can land this stun baton combo. Low B for PvP, high A for PvE. Li Long. This AC is boring as hell. Missile Tetrapod with a Ludlow and a shield. Has low damage, while it does have an undeniably great defensive performance. The poor offensive output really makes it bad for PvE. Struggling against bosses and a notably Branch, which punishes low DPS. For PvE, this AC struggles with what I call shield syndrome, where an AC is so bad it needs a shield to remain viable. Branch may have been impossible without it. PvP might be different. Missile Tetrapod is pretty good, but Li Long has no burst to snuff Rushdown, so we can easily see a good offensive AC beating it, especially because it runs SML FCS, aka the multi-lock FCS, with only a single missile that can lock onto 2 targets. Bruh. I do guess it has better medium assist than the SLT, but the Ludlow is a close-range weapon anyway, so it doesn't make too much difference. High C tier for PvP and a mid C tier for PvE. Candle Ring. Dual hand 4 cells and dual songbirds on a light wheelchair. This combination is pretty unique. It works fine enough in PvE, good mobility with high impact and alright damage, but in PvP it's difficult to analyze. Dual 4 cells is good, but dual songbirds, songbirds at all aren't. So it'll come down to if the songbirds hit, which they tend not to do. Regardless, this AC certainly has pressure, you cannot get away from it, but it will tend to lose to any agile rushdown. Low C tier for PvP and a low B tier for PvE. Reconfig. Really good. Excellent defensive performance, great offenses. Plasma Rifle and LCS are both great weapons with high damage, and the Tetrapod allows firing while remaining mobile. Being a Tetra also alleviates some of the weaknesses of Gazelle, allowing you to use a great rushdown while needed, aided by the VP20D gen, giving it great EN capacity and supply. The Laser Blade is a cherry on top. It can be used for stagger or to punish, and because the other weapons are high damage, this can result in quick kills, aided by high melee spec arms. High B tier for PvP and high A+ for PvE. Headbringer. Solid AC. Great impact, but mediocre damage. The shield is a little hard to judge. While I do consider it a bonus, it's the consistent output shield. So unless you are really good with a 0.2 second impact parry, you're probably going to dislike the loss of DPS and IPS. IPS's impact itself. Additionally, the left arm weapon is the Ludlow, meaning that if you've got the shield up, you can't use it if the Curtis is on reload or overheat. It'd be great if the two weapons swapped, so you could consistently fire the Ludlow at all times and cover yourself when the Curtis is offline. The frame is a little low on defense, but good for a lightweight. The FCS is great as well, it has perfect synergy with the weapon ranges, and mobility is pretty good, with aerial better than average because of PO4 booster. This is an honestly viable build for PvP, where impact is more important and the lower damage is less of a problem. High A for PvP and a high B for PvE. Shinobi. Oh yeah, baby! Finally a great AC. Where to start? Okay. Mind Alpha Core gives great defenses for a lightweight, especially relative to the other presets. Has good mobility and pressure with speed. The Femeza jump distance can help alleviate the bad quick boost, and the weapons. Honestly, you can just purge the Rensetsu IR. It's good enough in PvE, but obviously it's complete ass for PvP. And you know why you'd purge it? Because remember what you can do with a Handelman in a bare hand. That's right, Handelman punching. You stagger with the Javelin Beta, also, which is also a great component of the AC, by the way, or the Handelman. The AC is going straight to combo town. Now, if Pulse Armor's on the enemy, you might just want to do the hammer immediately to get damage, but if not, then you can just combo time away. High A tier for PvP and S tier for PvE. Cannonhead. Pretty mid for a tank. Like, obviously great defenses, but the weapons are pretty bad. Songbirds and Gorchen need elevation to maximize their effect, and that can be difficult for a tank. And the Zimmerman, well, obviously excellent, it's difficult to use when the AC is so slow. The missile does help to maintain pressure, but Cannonhead is going to struggle to reach enemies for the majority of the match. Additionally, Cannonhead has lots of downtime due to the 2 grenade cannons. While this is less of a problem for a tank, it still hurts if you miss anything. Low C tier for PvP, high B tier for PvE. Dual Nature, another really interesting preset. Initially it looks really bad, but once it clicks, it clicks. The game plan is to stagger with the blade and kicks, and then punish with the bubbles, which do really good damage on direct hit. Additionally, shields are really common among the presets, and it gives a good matchup into those ACs, as well as bosses, which there are quite a few of that have pulse armor. Elijah Metals too. The shield also really helps against burst damage ACs and bosses. However, this AC is undeniably frail. 8.7 AP on 1.5 stability is really poor, so it's very much a high risk, high reward situation. At least terminal armor to help create some hype moments. Low B tier for PvP, low S tier for PvE. Entangle, not terribly much to say. Good defenses with 10.8k AP, 1.8k stability, only 90 points of weight over 75. The weapons are great, the plasma missile's good, the combination of Javelin Alpha and Beta creates great stagger. The bubble gun even works well in this build because you use it as punish damage if the Javelin Alpha staggers, or you can just use it for general shield breaking. These parts are all solid for PvP too. The high burst damage can delete a lightweight AC. Low A tier for PvP and A+ tier for PvE. Circus. Very underwhelming. It has decent defenses for a wheelchair, except energy fence, which is pretty bad still. The weapons aren't terrible on a tank, considering that 3 of them are firing stance. Circus does pretty well against bosses in PvE, but it does struggle against AC. Generally, you want to be staggering with the explosives and then use the delivery boy for a punish, which it does some pretty decent punish damage. If the weapons were stronger, like maybe a Majestic, and if the missiles weren't verticals, this AC could be a little better. Low C tier for PvP, low B tier for PvE. Tsubasa. Oh baby, another good one! This is a textbook Kai. High impact kinetic weapons on a lightweight with Gridwalker and Yava Generator. Completely textbook. Little Gem also gives a little bit of expression to this build. You can use it for the punish, you can use it for impact, burst, protect, rushdown, so many uses. Its biggest weakness is paper thin defenses, especially to energy, but it's also really mobile. A good pilot could work this really well. Regardless, it's really good in AC combat. It does suffer against bosses in the campaign a little bit because its damage is on the lower end, but it's still undeniably great. High A in PvP, mid A+ in PvE. Barren Flower. Really difficult to rank. Rensetsu and 760 Plasma Rifle is a solid combination, and the Plasma Verticals are good. The Container Missile isn't that good, honestly, but granted it's not as bad on a Tetrapod, but it's still not amazing. Additionally, while 2.1k stability is great, 10.2k AP at 96k weight is not. The VE20C generator isn't the greatest, it really only helps the 760, while also resulting in poor mobility. I will concede that the Nightfall does allow Barren Flower to do a lot of quick boost, but that 1.2 second reload is really bad when the defenses are this bad. And the cherry on top, Gen 1 FCS, so your shots are very likely to miss. D tier for PvP, B tier for PvE. Full course. Heavyweight missile rat, more like fat ass missile rat. The frame is excellent defensively. I'll also give props to the Hakushi main dish combo. The high EN output of the Hakushi covers the bad generator adjustment with the mad of the main dish. And the great supply adjustment of main dish complements the horrible red line of the Hakushi. Unfortunately, this is all undercut by Kikaku Booster. Full course can stay in the air for a long time, but it will have trouble dodging attacks and is very slow. As for the weapons, dual aperitifs and dual soups are strong and do provide excellent pressure. The biggest problem is the fact that soup is very ineffective against rushdown. They are better against kites. But when your AC is a fat ass and full missiles, everybody's going to rush you. However, it is excellent against bosses in PvE. They will almost always get straight up hit by every single missile. Low B tier for PvP, A- for PvE. Deadsled. Great defenses, decent stability for an RJ. Wurger and reverse joint combo is really good. The LRA can provide some solid chip damage. Act 1 and 4 cell missiles create great pressure. A good FCS. Where could it go wrong? Ming Tang generator. 76 EN firearm spec. Cold Call's two main weapons take a 12% damage nerf and a 24% reduction in charge time. Now granted, this isn't too bad for the Wurger, as it still charges quickly and it's just mostly used for its impact. But the LRA though, that 3.8 charge time now goes to 4.7. That's basically unusable in combat. Additionally, the EN recharge on Cold Call is already on the lower end, but if you charge the LRA, it goes to the gutter. It still works just fine against bosses and in PvE, but the amount of time I barely missed a kill on an AC, it's driving me nuts. Maybe it's less of a problem when you have no repair kits. Low A tier for PvP, low A- for PvE. Steel Haze, objectively the best preset for PvE. This AC has bad melee arms, a sub-optimal SCS, and what I believe to be the worst AP value in the game at 8.4 4K. Even so, ridiculously high stagger output and great punch with the slicer into assault armor can delete ACs at Headbringer's AP level, and he also makes short work of most of the bosses with a high impacting damage as well. For PvP, the weaknesses will become more apparent, but even so, if you can land a stagger, you can still pull the same trick and deal great damage. A tier for PvP, and top place for PvE. Milktooth. Oh, this hurts me so bad. This AC is bad purely because of the Mule Booster. It really doesn't matter what else it has because at the end of the day, this AC is the slowest of the game. Yes, it's slower than Volta. I think he slightly inches out Chartreuse, but the boat aerial was better with better assault boost. See, having the worst AB in the assault boost in the game and relying on slow melee with a maximum range of 110 meters and a realistic range of 90 meters. Not to mention the 72 melee spec arms for 14% damage nerf, not great. But even so, the worst chainsaw possible is still a chainsaw, so it's still great damage. AC incident, command grabs. The weapons are actually a really great combination too. The flamethrower inflicts ACS overload and the Morley staggers. And during ACS overload, a point-blank Morley can even insta-stagger Volta, the highest stability preset in the game. Which of course allows you to combo into chainsaw. Unfortunately, Milktooth also suffers from bad EN recharge. Even after the Ming Tang buff, the Ming Tang's so close to the EN limit that the recharge is still really slow. Mule Quick Boost isn't bad per se, especially for a Quick Boost, but it's still expensive at 670 EN. And lastly, of course, it's using Gen 1 FCS. High D tier for PvP, low B tier for PvE. Deep down, this AC is undeniably the most optimized out of every preset. You can argue small optimizations like a stronger head, maybe desert legs and a different booster, but excluding the vertical missiles, this preset is damn near perfect. Great archetype too, heavyweight kite. The hand 4 cells provide sustain, the Act 2 missiles provide great pressure, and the Harris is very versatile. You can use it for the constant shooting, you can burst stagger, you can use it on punish. Not to mention the P4 is one of the better aerial boosters, and on Santai, Deep Down has the EN to stay in the air long and only needs a moment to land on the ground to continue. Unfortunately, its performance as PvE is a little worse. Don't get me wrong, it's still great, but the damage is a little on the lower side and it isn't a fast killer. So it's a little slower for the DPS and IPS. Top place for PvP, high A- tier for PvE. Open Faith. Okay, so this AC has 2 short-range weapons on on the worst short close-range FCS in the game. I think that's an upturn. Okay, so this AC does have the best defenses out of all the bipedal ACs, and Gazelle Booster does help to alleviate some movement problems. The game plan is Laser Lance into Stun Needle, but there's a small problem with that. The Laser Lance has quirks in the way that it interacts with the stagger system. See, if you deal impact and damage after a stagger, the stagger duration is lower. That's common knowledge, right? What you may not realize is that a weapon deals impact from multiple sources, like a shotgun, you can shorten the stagger because half the shots will stagger and then half the shots will hit past the stagger. As a pile bunker user in PvP, I know this very well. But you see, if the lance staggers the AC during the charge, they will probably be able to move after the lance finishes. And the stun needle will probably miss, which is not great. Additionally, a single stun gun isn't great. It really needs to be dual wield to maximize the electricity buildup. So the damage is really piss poor. And that's even if you hit, because the FCS is bad close range again. However, the lance can still allow this AC to work well in PvE, so it isn't terrible. High C tier for PvP, and a high B tier for PvE. Umber Ox. Very good, but unoptimized. This AC has probably the strongest weapons out of every preset in the game. You can hit a stagger with a Majestic, then hit it with an earshot plus charge LCD into charge elevate, and you just melt your enemies. The biggest problem is the complete lack of mobility. Both legs need a certain skill set to pilot, and this AC is lacking AP and, importantly, stability. 1.7k stability on something this slow is a death sentence, so this AC definitely struggles with fast aerial opponents. But this AC can easily change the tides quickly with its stupid high damage, so it shouldn't be underestimated. For PvE, it struggles less because it's really not difficult to out-stagger dumb CPUs, but some bosses can give it trouble because of the bad mobility. Low B tier for PvP, high A+ tier for PvE. ASTGHIK. You're telling me Basho Arm Pulse Blade on Kikaku Booster? Fuck yes. Yeah, okay, so this AC is very fun, but it isn't amazing. The Pulse Blade is basically the entire build. The rifle isn't bad, and the AC and the missiles can deal some decent damage when you need them. The Napalm is great for PvE, but it sucks against ACs and faster bosses. The Basho frame is actually pretty good in this case. This AC runs Aorta Booster, which synergizes decently with Basho Core to negate the bad generator output, but it also means you only get a few melee cancels before you need to take like 3 seconds of vulnerability before you can continue. So any decent kite could probably outplay this AC. Mid C tier for PvP, low A+ for PvE. Aster Crown. AC 1 cycles with no melee? More likely than you think. See, the game plan is to put the shield up, charge the Harass and the LCA, stagger with the Sampu, or deal enough damage to impact. Deal enough impact to stagger with the Harass. You fire the Harass and the LCA. Profit. Or you can just spam uncharged Harass with the Sampu for some of the best IPS in the game, then fire the charge LCA. Now this AC is on the frailer side. 10.6k AP is pretty bad for 101k weight, but the stability is crazy. It only loses to Michigan and Volta. And when the shield is up at maximum performance, this AC has an effective stability of 7,736 stability. That can take the entirety of a Walter Noodle, and is only a little short of taking 2. However, this AC makes you choose between this and the good IPS. You could stagger with the LCA and then punish with a Harass, but the LCA is slow charging, slow firing, and slowly recharges. And because you're relying on the shield, you can't quick boost, which means you cannot use the Boing Boing tech, aka the tech to inspire the LCA. Because yes, it requires a quick boost. Oh yeah, the shield also needs its 4-second recharge again if you quick boost, so you can't do that. Thankfully, the Gridwalker does allow you to maximize aerial mobility, but on that 4-second deployment, you cannot choose the shield during engagement. You basically need to decide with Warhand if you're going to use the shield or not. So sometimes the shield will just be a waste of weight in the end on the back because you're using the Harass's IPS support. So you might as well purge it in some matchups. Or for in PvE because it's faster to just stagger and fire the LCA. B tier for PvP, high A+ for PvE. Liger Tail. Water Strider. It's a great defenses. The weapons are a little hard to judge, you can see though. See, the Liger Tail has excellent CQC. The Gatling Gun and Explosive Thrower are a really strong combo. It is very difficult to outstagger the Liger Tail in CQC. However, it struggles heavily against kites, and only one missile isn't great, and the Songbird is basically only punished down because things never hit. And lastly, this AC has horrible recharge. It only has a supply efficiency of 1.6k. That's really bad. And the large tank of the Santai will take forever to recharge. B tier for PvP, A+ for PvE. Locksmith. Excellent weapon combo. The laser blade can stagger a punch on Flugel Booster with those 138 melee spec arms. Same with the Morley. Drones are strong during punish or can do that chip to gain AP lead. Kick into blade is true against slower ACs. Good defenses at 10.7k AP and 1.7 stability. The biggest problem, however, is the mobility. The VE-20A is a bad generator, especially when you don't have EN firearm spec weapons. No, the drone does not count. It literally does not scale on it. And even if 3.5k EN supply is good, 2.5 capacity on a 1.24 recharge delay is bad. It is not difficult to outmaneuver Locksmith if you know what you're doing. Additionally, the turret isn't that great. The sustain is good, but the impact and damage is pretty bad. Regardless, the performance is really good, and as long as you keep the below average mobility in mind, this AC can work really well, especially in PvE, where the laser blade is kind of nuts. Low A tier for PvP, high A+ tier for PvE. Wow, I wonder what happens when you pair 3 of the best burst impact options with 2 great burst damage options. Oh wow, you just lost half your AP of 1 stagger in like 10 seconds. You can stagger with the javelins and punish with the hammer, or throw out the first hammer in neutral and punish with the javelin alpha. Additionally, this AC has good pressure too, speed booster on average AP and stability, and the laser orbit makes it really difficult to reset stagger. Now, this AC can struggle against a kite, but the javelin beta can come out of nowhere, so escaping this AC isn't easy. But yeah, this AC eats up anything that loses the CQC interaction. A- tier for PvP, and S tier for PvP. Trainer. This is just Headbringer without the shield. The Trainer has slightly better kiting booster on Yaba and has better defenses than Headbringer. So while Headbringer is better defensively when the shield is up, Trainer is better without it. And Headbringer does need to stop firing the Bloodload to put the shield up. So there is a genuine argument in one being better than the other. I personally believe Headbringer edges out because you can shield heavy impacts. But honestly, I put these two together in the tier list because of how similar they are. Same weaknesses, similar strengths. It's just personal preference on which one's better. High A tier for PvP, high B tier for PvE. Tester. Dog shit, Lamau. The Rensetsu AR never hits. The blade can help it. 1 through 5 is a bad melee booster, especially on that fucking Ling Tai generator. Act 2 missiles are even a little wasted on this because they'll probably hit when EN isn't available, so any decent player will lose to this. High E tier for PvP, low C tier for PvE. Mind Beta. This AC is a simple plan. Charge Dagger into Charge Kurosawa into normal Dagger. This is pretty good, however, this AC literally only has that. The orbit is little help when the AC is entirely burst damage. And while the shield can help survivability, when you have no pressure tool, every enemy is just going to keep their distance. It's going to be impossible to actually hit the combo. A missile 2 would have done wonders. And while speed is on the higher end for melee frost, the Mind Alpha arms are one of the worst for melee. Additionally, the Kurosawa also has a really long cooldown, so this AC will just be dagger spamming while it's down. I'll still rate it high because the combo can thread in a CQC lightweight and can still work for PvE, but the weaknesses are apparent. B tier for PvP, A- for PvE. Corporation. This AC's DPS is no joke. The Chancheng and the laser rifle are a great combination of damage and impact, and the laser torrents deal some stupid damage if the AC stays in a certain area. The verticals are completely nothing, but the other weapons are good enough to make it a non-issue. The biggest problem this AC faces is bad defenses. 9.7k AP and literally 1,999 stability is bad. Can't even tank an assault armor as a tetrapod. That's embarrassing. Now, I really wanted this AC to utilize Dark Core and a Lula booster to dodge and alleviate the weaknesses, but the weight of the AC puts the quick boost at 1.27 seconds, which is far too slow. This AC really wants to be on LAM, but alas, regardless, the damage is not to be underestimated. High B tier for PvP, low A+ for PvE. Rubiconian. Okay, you have got to hear me out on this one. The frame is kind of bad. On the over 75k weight with middling AP and bad stability. However, this thing can kite, and it has anti-rushdown. You kite with the Therapist and Etsugen, firing off delivery boys when you can, and if the enemy AC gets too close, you just hit him with a kick and a sweet 16. This will likely stagger and deal great damage. Did I also mention this is Gridwalker Booster on Yaba Generator, aka the best aerial combination? The only other weakness is the Gen 1 FCS, but this really only affects the Etsugen because the Therapist doesn't use the FCS, Delivery Boy is best fired after a stagger for damage anyway, and the Sweet 16 is used close enough to rarely matter too. High B tier for PvP and a low A- for PvE. Mind Gamma. Hey, so remember when I said that Headbringer would be better on the Ludlow and Curtis switched to avoid downtime? Yeah, imagine that problem to the extreme here. If you want to hold the, may I remind you, constant deflection type shield up, you need to stop firing the Ludlow. With meaning, if you want to utilize the full charge in the Kurosawa, you need to stop firing everything but the orbit. This makes the shield basically useless if you cannot initial guard that 0.2 seconds for the impact damage. This AC would be infinitely better if you could fire the Ludlows while charging the Kurosawa to protect yourself. That would be genuinely scary. However, you cannot, so it's not good. The frame is alright, it's decent stability for an RJ and decent AP, but the weapon problems really hamper the AC. High C tier for PvP and low A+ for PvE. Institute. I want to love this AC so much, bro. I love the Moonlight. I love Aoras. But god, it's so ass. First, the Nebula is underwhelming on a biped. Standing still for a charge attack kinda sucks and the damage is underwhelming. Next, the Ephemera frame is underwhelming. The AP is alright, I suppose, but 1.6k stability is bad. The EN defense is amazing for a lightweight, I will give it that. The kills aren't terrible, but a high EN quick boost is not good on Aorta Generator. Additionally, Aorta isn't great for weapons, as 105 EN firearm spec isn't high enough to bring out the potential. 106 melee spec on the arms isn't anything crazy either, and lastly, the biggest problem, Acellus. Feels crazy to say it's bad, but it just is. See, before the nerf, the preset was considerably better. 85 missile lock was enough for the Aoras to not be terrible, even if they were slow. But 45 missile lock is a death sentence. That 15% slower lock speed has gone to 55%, and that's crazy. This changes the lock speed of the Aoras from 3.795 seconds to 5.115, which is stupid. The Aoras were the main DPS of the build, and now it has low DPS. It's fairly easy to dodge with any vertical movement, and it's frail too. Not to mention that without fast Aoras, you'll be in firing stance more often, which is really bad for the frail AC. High E tier for PvP, B tier for PvE. Nightfall. Why'd they make the one pile bunker AC kind of ass? Okay, so this is still a pretty good AC for PvE because the bunk is still a bunk, it's still amazing. But man, this AC has so many issues. The Scudder has bad DPS, Songbirds will never hit anything, Dual Missiles never hit at close range, and if you aren't at close range, the bunk won't be able to do anything. This AC also has bad mobility. While it is lightweight, Lingtai Generator with P10 booster means this build struggles at any movement that isn't assault boosting, which is not much help when only one weapon benefits from it. Defenses are middling as well. The Pile Bunker isn't even anything crazy on tool arm arms because you're only expecting about 6k AP damage on charged direct hit bunker, which is big damage for sure, but it's not difficult for any AC on the upper side of AP to survive. And the lightweight's are unlikely to get staggered by the poor weapons. High D tier for PvP, high A- tier for PvE. Still Haze Ortus. This AC excels at AC versus AC combat, and by that I mean it's above average. The stagger is really high and the punish damage is good too. You can combo the Slicer into a Triano because of the Slicer duration, but this AC is very reliant on the Huxley. Once it goes down, the AC is a lot worse. The Period 4 Booster is also a little suboptimal as it worsens the AC to keep in close range or catch kite. Defenses aren't terrible for a lightweight, but when you can just outlive the Huxley and then you try dodge the Dientos, it won't be too hard to avoid dying to it. I would also like to add how extremely bad at this AC is against general PvE enemies. It's so funny. Like, this AC struggles to take out more than like one MT at a time. Like, I don't use Impossible Light. The only other impossibilities I'd give is like Zihi and Index of Branch in like Zihi and IBIS. But I think it might be genuinely impossible for Ortus to intersect the red guns. Like, no joke. If anybody manages to do it, please link a video. The plain preset, no changes. Like, I will definitely call that out and see how incredible it is. High B- tier for PvP, A+ tier for PvE. How? This AC knows exactly what it is. You fire that charged coral missile, hope it lands as you hit a coral blade, stagger, and you unleash the noodle. The thing is, if you get the combo, boom, easy kill. However, if you fuck up the combo, you're a sitting duck as all the cooldowns are active. The coral shield helps slightly, but you can't use it during melee, though you can use it while using the noodle, which is pretty fun. Honestly, everything else about the AC is irrelevant after that. The defenses are pretty good with mediocre stability. Power Core does pair well with the NGI generator and NGI booster to help with evasion, but it's a very all or nothing AC, meaning it can work in PvP, but it's hard to trust. Low B- tier for PvP and high A+ tier for PvE. Echo. This is an altered institute. Coral Missile taking years to lock on is less of a concern because redshift weapons are better standalone damage than the Nebula and Moonlight. And additionally, the Coral Missile allows you to do stupid combo stuff like on HOW. This also uses NGI instead of Aorta generator, which means you have better mobility. The Coral Shield isn't anything crazy, but it can help. I would just like to consider this as a better institute because the damage potential is a lot better if you can land the Coral Missile with even redshift. However, it still contains the same weaknesses as Institute. C- tier for PvP, low A+ tier for PvE. And with that, I have covered all of the AC6 presets. I hope you enjoyed it. This video took a little while to make, so I'd appreciate it if you'd like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe share with anybody who wants to know a bit more about the presets. Thank you.
Listen up, 621. The IBIS series are no ordinary weapons. They're designed to prevent coral disasters, a security measure to keep Rubicon safe. But now their original masters are long gone. Destroy it before it destroys you.
Taking damage, Raven. We'll get you a chance to turn the door. I know you can find a way.
AP at 50%.
Keep it up, 621. Can't take much more of this.
AP at 30%.
Raven, we're in danger.
Focus, 621. You have to focus.
AP at 30%. AP at 50%.
Enemy coral response. Silent.
Wait. It's coming back.
It's reactivating.